Hi everyone. This week we've got Nick from No Letting Go on the show. We're going to be talking about inventories. Nick and I go way back, 10 years back, in fact. Unfortunately for Nick, that is. And Nick, before we do anything, I always like to do a quick introduction from the person on the show. So Nick, give us a quick introduction to who you are.
So I'm Nick Lyons, CEO for No Letting Go. As Lee rightly points out, we've known each other a very long time. No Letting Go provide inventory management services throughout the UK. We've through 84 offices, currently 84 offices, around about 350, 400 people on the ground. And what we do is we offer independent outsourced inventory management services covering the inventory check-in services, the checkout services, and all of the sort of midterm safety inspections, all the various, if you like, boots on the ground services for the lettings industry. So we're the guys that act for agents or any property professional for that matter. And we're very much your eyes and ears, do all the auditing side, making sure that the right things are done in the right places. So very much that extension of a letting agent on that side. So
awesome, Nick. Awesome. Now we know this happens every year, winter that is. But what advice could you give to a letting agent to go the extra mile in protecting the landlord's properties this winter?
Well, I think on a broader scale, I think when I first started up doing in the inventory market, set No Letting Go up, of course, a very small proportion of the market was using inventory management, and it was used very much as to protect deposits, evidence based. Of course, over the years, lots of legislation's come in, health, safety, the requirements for landlords, letting agents have been more stringent. So I think that the demand for our types of services across the whole industry has become enormous over that period of time. But on top of that, the importance of the documentation has become more critical than ever. Obviously, with lots of horror stories around sort of fire safety and the various big news stories that have come out, are really about making sure that you dot your I's, you cross your T's. That having a good, solid, detailed document when you're moving in. So that the tenants know exactly what's expected of them, that you cover yourself in all elements. Landlords are protected from that point of view. From a letting agent's point of view, of course, they need solid documentation going in, which allows at the end, when a checkout's carried out, ideally independently, when that checkout's then carried out, of course, you then have high quality, detailed information in which a property manager can make an informed decision on how much money goes back, etc., etc. And then within that whole process, all of the midterms that happen, tenancies are much longer these days, so it's more critical than ever that regular property visits are carried out. So all of these sort of things become more and more important. We're coming into the winter, as you say, Lee. And I think what happens in the winter is you get lots of things like mildew, damp. People are closing their windows to keep warm. That in turn creates condensation, which in turn creates mildew, etc., etc. Tenants then start calling up letting agents saying that I've got damp issues, and they're not. It's because you stuff paper in the vent in the bathroom, and we've seen it all over the years. And of course, it becomes this ongoing calls, arguments going on between what's damp and what's mildew and all that sort of stuff. Now, proper evidence in place, and this is where midterms become so critical, and it ensures that when you get into those discussions, everyone knows exactly what's going on. Everything's clear, and it doesn't become a big row at the end, and become a dragged out, prolonged situation, which of course just costs money for property managers and agents from that. So the devil's in the detail. It's all about it.
100%,
and no more.
100%. The more informed information that somebody has, the better decisions they can make. So totally agree with that, Nick. And my last question to you is, what do you think is the most important thing happening right now for agents on the inventory front? What should they be considering?
Well, it's quite interesting because as we speak, there's been a release, a news press that went out around the government is changing the requirements around carbon monoxide. Now, you may or may not remember, Lee, that I think 2015 we brought in legislation around smoke alarm testing and carbon monoxide testing. But carbon monoxide testing, testing for the alarms and making sure they're in place, was always for solid fuel.
Yep.
The legislation or the press release that came out yesterday was saying that I didn't see the date actually, but essentially what's happening is that all private rented properties now must have carbon monoxide alarms in them, irrespective of whether or not they're solid fuel, i.e. fireplaces, whatever. Now, if they've got gas boilers, which of course most properties have, they need a carbon monoxide alarm put in place as well, which I mean, I know a lot of agents would do this anyway, but actually an enormous amount of people don't do that. Now, in terms of the inventory management market, we test these anyway. This is actually standard certainly for No Litter and Go. I can't say for the rest of the industry, but certainly for No Litter and Go, we make these tests as part of our service. It's not a chargeable thing. It's part of our overall service, whether we do an inventory, a midterm, or a checkout. And now this legislation's come in, and certainly if you're using our services, we will then do that test for you as part of the process. And it's just another box ticked. It protects the landlord, it protects the letting agent, or more to the point, highlights if something hasn't been done. Of course, all these pieces of legislation all comes around that sort of evidence and making sure you're compliant. There's sort of things that often get forgotten, with the million things that agents are trying to do. So,
I think that's great to help them with that and to help with that compliance angle. I think that's a really good thing, Nick. And I think that's pretty much it for today. Sure. And Nick, thank you so much for all your insights. Thank you so much for being on the show. And thanks for putting up with me for the last 10 years. I really appreciate it.
And we'll do another 10. Cheers, Lee.